Just needs to go down to the basics, right? Checks, captures, threats.
Start with the checks. He's down there at 35 seconds, Gukesh. Only way to stay alive in this game. Otherwise, Magnus is just going to trade off pieces and do it the long way.
And the last time it was a wrong check that cost him a game. He's about to reach out, and David, it is the rook. He finds it, but he's got to find the next few precise moves as well.
And now the big question for Magnus there. You can see it's only move. He needs to step up and just go step closer to the rook on f3.
This is the best position Gukesh has had in ages, in at least 25 moves. Here, Magnus needs to find king to e2, going towards that rook, and more importantly, using the black rook to block any checks. The second rank is where white's rook is going to continue harassing that black king. I have a feeling Magnus might be looking in the other direction, trying to hide his king behind the white pawn over here. So it's not going to be easy. It's a 50-50. You definitely don't want to go to d2 because the white knight will come back.
He needs to make a decision in a minute and a half. I think the problem with getting your king to b1 could be that once the knight retreats, you know, there are checks on that c3 square that you have to be incredibly careful about. So getting that king to b1 might be something that Gukesh, in fact, is hoping for.
Yeah. The black king, ironically enough, needs to be active. It needs to be out there in the open. And you definitely, I agree with you, Tanya, you don't want a knight appearing on e4. You'd much rather that the white rook were there in the way. Where's he going to go? He steps to the correct square.
Okay, great move. Now Gukesh has to give check. The white rook now is vulnerable. The white knight also attacked, defending that rook. So those two pieces are frozen. You have to give check here or here. Two squares across the board or down the board. Which one is Gukesh going to go for? He forces a rook trade. Magnus now can block this check. Rooks come off the board very quickly, and the knight saves itself with a fork. This is still game on. It's going to be 3 pawns for white, 3, maybe 4 pawns for black, but Gukesh is still alive.
Well, you could. The blue arrow helps us out, right? King e2, you attack the rook, and if the rook gives a check, king e3, hitting the knight, the key defender. So you don't have a check if you're white here. I think rook f2, king e3 loses.
And that's why he steps up with the king. You're setting your plan in motion. And the knight is threatening to take both d6 and f6. And let's not forget, there is a passed h-pawn for white.
But now your idea, just start pushing the d-pawn, right? d5, d4, d3.
It's a race, right?
It's a race.
But you give up f6, David.
Yeah, you have to give up one of them. The two pawns are hanging. Magnus really took his eye off the ball, I think, allowing that white knight to retreat. Maybe playing d5 while the white knight was still stuck over on g5 was the way to go. Now it is a pure race, and it's just about whether Magnus is quick enough with this pawn. Gukesh first might be tempted to give a check, but the black king would simply move, so no, he grabs a pawn. It's suddenly level material. Gukesh, I think he's excited about saving this, adjusting his collar there. Magnus, though, with these 2 strong pawns, still hard to predict.
What is this Gukesh versus Magnus, always ending in a pawn race involving an h-pawn?
And a king hunt along the way.
And a time scramble as well, as the players are both under the minute. Rook moves over to f8, just chasing away that knight. But can you not just go knight d7? No, because there's a big threat of knight to h5 check.
Oh my goodness. He sets it up. That's a big trap.
Big trap. Only move for Gukesh is to give check with his rook. That is...
He finds it.
Magnus ready to move. He was expecting it. He's about to renew that threat by keeping his king connected to that white rook. White rook's got to keep checking.
Right, and he cannot step up with the king to e3 because then it's going to be met knight takes d5.
You've got to go down to e1.
He finds it, okay.
That's it. But you still can't move the knight, right? Because knight h5.
No, but you can support that pawn on f6 by playing g5. Only move.
Gukesh. Ooh,
What? Did he blunder?
moves his knight out the way.
But knight h5?
Oh, he's being tricky. Because if you go knight h5, suddenly it's an even bigger race than it was before with 2 passed pawns on the board.
Magnus is getting nervous. This is the most nervous we've seen him in a while. Suddenly it's a fork as well. The black rook hit, the black pawn hit. He might need to defend his pawn, move his rook out the way. The advantage is slipping away from the world number 1. Gukesh is fighting so hard right now.
He's fighting so incredibly well. I mean, just insane, you know, holding this position so far long against Magnus Carlsen.
Magnus blunders!
Rook takes knight.
This is over. You're up a piece.
Yeah, he's banking on the d-pawn running down the board.
But the knight has to have a path back. Can you go all the way to e4 and go knight c3?
Yes,
Check
you
in
can.
the end. Knight d7, knight c5, knight e4, knight c3 when Magnus queens.
You absolutely can, but look, you only got 20 seconds left on the clock, and Gukesh has to act fast.
He has to find this.
And
he's gone another route, but he still wants to go c5, e4 or g5, e4. e4 is the key square for the knight.
Exactly.
Ooh. Is Gukesh about to win his first classical game against Magnus Carlsen?
Wow.
Oh my goodness, what a turnaround. And Magnus now under 20 seconds. But there's nothing for it. He just has to push the pawns and hope one of them gets to the promotion square.
Oh my goodness, and it's the h-pawn that will decide the game.
Magnus is about to push his pawn, but he needs a miracle now. This is about to go down in the history books, this game. Magnus was reaching for his king, pawn to d2. The move he had missed is knight e4, back with a fork, knight c3, and Magnus retreats. Now, only winning move for Gukesh is shown by the blue arrow. He has to go to the edge of the board this time.
Oh my God, will he find it?
20 seconds to find this move. Knight to a4 to stop the pawn from the front, to stop it from the b2 square. Process of elimination, I think he finds it.
Gukesh, you cannot miss this opportunity. You have to find this. This is a once-in-a-lifetime.
finds it. Oh my God. The world champion just turning it around. Knight a4, knight to b2, and Magnus just advancing the e-pawn. That's all he can do.
This has been a champion's performance against the GOAT so far, but still, it's not over. David, how precise does Gukesh need to be to wrap this up?
Gukesh is winning. It's a race, and there we go. He starts the race. Pawn to h5. He reaches for the queen, Gukesh. That is symbolic. He's about to promote to a queen. It's another pawn race between these two. Magnus, though, lacking the knight, lacking the time. He's one move too slow. Look at his hand shaking, Magnus Carlsen.
Oh, Magnus Carlsen is about to lose to Gukesh. This is unbelievable. What a turnaround.
Yeah, but does he have to be careful here, Gukesh? Okay, he moves the knight to b2, finding all the right moves.
And in the end, it's going to be the b3 pawn that's going to win the game for Gukesh. The queens are going to be traded off if Gukesh has calculated this line all the way. Oh my God.
Magnus banged the table and the pieces fell over. Look at that. Devastation from the world number one. Turnaround. Historic moment. Gukesh wins against all the odds.
Wow. Gukesh Domaraju has done it. He's got his first win against the world number one, taking down Magnus Carlsen in his own arena. And what an end that was.
Yeah. I'm just completely speechless because Magnus Carlsen was in just complete control and then it just slipped in one big moment. I mean, we have to go and revisit that because it just completely changed.
I've never
it's shocking.
seen Magnus like that.
Wow, and Gukesh, calm, composed, setting up the pieces. And yeah, I mean, he'll be soaking it in. He'll be trying to compose himself as well, just recovering from that. But so many congratulations to him. Big breakthrough moment. He did it the hard way. He was dead lost for most of that game. And he took his one chance when it came. And quick recap, as you mentioned, Ivanka, there was a fork here. Black's only way to keep the advantage for Magnus was to react calmly, slide his rook across, defend the pawn. But
he can't find a piece. He can't find a piece on the board.
I don't think he can believe it because, you know,
oh my goodness.
you could just see the emotion there.
Sorry,
the hands were
baby,
shaking.
so much is
the nerves,
happening.
I mean, it just took us by complete surprise.
And Magnus couldn't believe it, right? He was so angry with himself. Imagine playing a flawless game, completely winning. And the kid does it. He gets his first win.
Yeah. I mean,
and
Magnus...
look at Gukesh, she's taking it all in. You know, knowing that you can do this, believing is one thing, but making it happen and knowing that you can take down Magnus Carlsen is a whole different thing.
Yeah. Wow. And did you see him just give a silent, like, thank you? I mean, that is just absolutely unbelievable. And just take a look at the playing hall as no one, I think,
what a moment.
can believe.
What a moment. And I'll tell you one thing, Ivanka, this to him probably means just as much as Singapore did. You know, the first time taking down the world number one. And we see he's giving his interview.